two things I've always thought that are underrated about you, Dick, are first of all, how much you prepare, your knowledge going into a game. And you're actually a lot more critical than people, I think, attribute to. If you really listen to what you're saying, you're not afraid to criticize someone's attitude, their body language, how they're playing. So, but as I said, a lot of that comes out in the wash. But just give us a quick update on your health, specifically your voice. I mean, we all heard this was in 2007. It was very jarring to hear you doing games. It sounded like your voice was going. You got surgery. You took some time off. Are you over that hump, or is that something you still have to be cautious about and maintain?
Well, I think anytime you have surgery and you have a pre-cancer situation, you got to be cautious and make sure you get checkups, et cetera. It was a scary time, Seth. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I cried many a day. The only people that knew about that really, how really tough it was for me, were Dan Schulman and one of my bosses at ESPN, Dan Steer. They certainly were very well aware. Howie Schwab did a lot of research and still does research for me. They were aware. I would go to games, Seth. I swear to you. And instead of thinking about a game, what's in front of me, I mean, I could do that in my sleep. I could talk about 2-3 zones, matchups. I could talk about all the technical aspects of a game. But what I was fearful of, what was coming out of my mouth. I had so much fear because I couldn't generate the kind of enthusiasm or the kind of power that I once had. And I'd be honest with you. My wife knows this. I cried many a night, man. I cried many a night where I'm not going anymore. And my boss would say, Dick, come on, you could do it. You could do it. And I'd spend time during the timeouts. I must have asked Dan Schulman 5 million times, are they able to hear me? Can you hear me? And I'm telling you, it is, when you make your living like that, and I went to about seven doctors. My son-in-law is a surgeon. And one day he came home and he said to me, he called Mr. V. He said, I found a young doctor here who's terrific on the throat. He said, I'm in the operating room. I meet a lot of guys. He said, this guy, I want you to see him. Well, I came home and said, I don't want to see him, Chris. I saw 7 guys, and they all told me the same, basically. You're going to have to live with what you have. It's from the fact that all your life, talk from your throat instead of from your ear. And the bottom line is you've caused damage here. You caused some damage, and you have to live with that. So I didn't want to go. Well, he finally dragged me, made an appointment. I went to see him, and he kind of scared me in a way, Dr. Deems. He said, look, I'm looking at your throat, and I don't like what I see. He said, however, I can't get to where I'd love to get because I don't have that equipment. There's one guy in this country who sees all the superstars from people like, well, you name Lionel Richie and Adele and all these stars, James Taylor, all these big stars he had seen. His name is Dr. Zeitels, Steven Zeitels. He said, I'm going to call his office and I want you to get an appointment because he has equipment that'll get right on top of your vocal cords. Well, I went to see him, and I'm going to tell you this, you'd get a kick out of this meeting. You would love to write about this. I walked in, I said, hey, Doc. I said, I've seen 7 guys, and they've all told me the same. He stopped me. He says, first of all, I want you to know something. I don't know anything about you, basically. Don't know what you really do, except my office is all excited. They're all going, wow, that Dickie V's here. Well, I don't know. I don't follow basketball. I don't know Dickie V. But let's get one thing straight right now, sir. He says, you're in my office, and I'm the boss. And I know what goes on in the throat. So I will tell you, I don't care what those 7 others told you. So I'm the best at what I do. And I'm going to tell you, well, man, I was like, nobody ever spoke to me like that. And he finally looked, he got on my throat, showed my wife with the monitor where he was looking at the monitor, and he said, you got a problem. He said, you have ulcerated lesions that are on your throat. And I have to tell you, they could be cancerous. Man, I'm going to tell you, Seth, it was like, I can't tell you what went through my body. And I just got so scared. And my heart goes out to any lady or any male that's waiting for results to come back after they go for biopsies, et cetera. I mean, a phone ring, you're like a nervous wreck, man. It just takes your heart out. Well, he said to me, I have to do surgery. Well, we went to do the surgery. I waited during that period of time, and I got such good news. When my buddy was with me, they came to the hospital, John Saunders, my agent Sandy Montag, and those people. And John Saunders, I had a deal with him. I said, John, when I come out of surgery, man, just go like this if there's no cancer. I said, if you don't go like that, I know. And he said he couldn't tell until he did surgery. So when he came out, he said to me, he said, John went like this. And the doctor said, because when I went in, I'm going to show you something. All my life, Corey Kirkpatrick did a story of me for SI, and he saw it, and so did Rick Riley. I carry with me St. Jude. St. Jude is a miracle worker in the Catholic religion. My mother gave me this when I lost my eye as a kid. I'm blind in my left eye. And I've had St. Jude in my pocket all my life. Well, I told the doctor when we were going to surgery, he said, you can't bring anything. I said, well, I'm bringing St. Jude. It's coming with me to surgery. And he put it in my pajamas or whatever we wear there. I stuck it on there. When I got out of surgery, Dr. Vitale is Jewish. I'm a Catholic. And he looked at me and says, I don't know what you had on you, but you better continue wearing that because you got good luck. He said, basically, it's pre-cancer and we can treat it and take care of it. And he's done that. He and I have become such great friends now, great friends. So much so that I have each year through the V Foundation made sure that we give at least a minimum of $250,000 for people, for him to do research with the throat. But every day, I have that fear. I do a bunch of exercises. But you know what? My problem is small compared to what people have. And I've been so lucky and blessed, man. Like I said earlier, Seth, doing something I love, talking basketball.